Good morning, Formation friends. I'm glad to see you this morning. It's a Saturday morning, so I pray God's rest and restoration over your weekend. Hopefully, you're getting some time off. If you're working today, maybe you're going to be getting tomorrow off. May this be a good time to reflect and renew, consider how you're living before God, grow in depth. That's part of why we gather on these mornings of March to deepen our souls and connect with God. Today, I want to ask you a question. Is it good for your family that you're in your family? Is it good for your neighborhood that you live there? How about your workplace? Is it good that you work where you work? Is it good for them that you're there? Or even in your city, is it of benefit to others that you live and act and serve where you do? Well, it can be, and that's part of what we want to talk about today is how we can extend the blessing of God simply by being present. Today we'll look at Proverbs 11, and I'm going to just hit on a few simple topics that we want to integrate into our lifestyle. And in a strange way, we're going to start with dishonest scales. The first verse says that the Lord detests dishonest scales. Well, what are dishonest scales? Those are, I think you could break it down and say the Lord detests dishonesty as a whole. Um, that through dishonest scales, that was measuring for how much of a commodity you were going to get. Remember when scriptures were written that they're not dealing with dollar bills, they're dealing often with you're trading one commodity for another, or you are uh, weighing something and trading that for the weight of something else. So dishonest scales are a sign of taking advantage of each other, of a kind of exploitation. The Lord hates it when we take advantage of each other or exploit one another. It's a form of hypocrisy, giving the appearance of one thing, but actually under the surface, something else. False appearances are not how the kingdom of God works. So we need to be aware of that. That's not a new thought, but every time we hear it, every time we consider it, the Lord doesn't want you to take advantage of anybody else. That's an important piece first. In verse 2, we see the simple outline of what we see throughout the book of Proverbs that pride leads to disgrace or to shame, but humility leads to wisdom. When we think we know everything or are better than others or we are not teachable, it's going to one day we're going to be unveiled. In the workplace, sometimes you'll see somebody that they're getting in a little over their head, or whether they're fielding calls and the questions are beyond them, and they feel like they have to pretend that they know. One day it's going to catch up with you. Same thing's true in every arena of life. If you pretend you know more than you do, and or are unteachable, and or consider yourself better than others, you will be unveiled. It's just the way that life works. On the other hand, if you're humble, which means that you have an honest estimation of who you are before God and who you are in yourself and before others. That's really what humility is. Humility is not false humility is when you're always pretending you're nothing when you are something. That's not humility. Humility is agreeing with God's perception of you, receiving it in honesty, and living it before others. When we live that way and are teachable, we will continually grow in our understanding and our application. The third concept I want to discuss is integrity. And this is the meat of what I want to think about today. Integrity is how we need to live. So we described we want to be honest with how we measure and do business, and we want to be humble and teachable, considering others. But integrity is a picture of soundness. That's really what the word means is sound or undivided or without holes. A sound, in, integrous building is one that's solid. A bucket that has integrity can hold water without spilling it. A life of integrity is sound and honest, it's dependable, and has good judgment. So we want to live lives of soundness, good judgment, to be dependable. We are people of follow through, that our word matters. So integrity is a picture that that person is sound, dependable, and follow through, that they keep their word. Now, that's what I want to think about. If you're like that in your family, you don't have to be told to do stuff a lot of times. You don't have to be told to take the laundry upstairs more than once. You've told and you do it. Whatever the situation, you are sound, good judgment, dependable. Well, when we get down to verse 10, it says, when the righteous prosper, the city rejoices. That's because when the righteous are doing well, their business is sound. How they do business, whatever that is. It could be school, uh, it could be a small business, a large business, it could be anything. Whatever they're doing, they're offering in a sense to the city is sound. So when the righteous are prospering, others will prosper too, because righteous people, humble people, people connected in right uh, relationship in with God, they care for the common good. This is the foundation of what our country and governmental system was built on, was the idea that people are living soundly and concerned for the common good. Now we're living in a time where there's a little more self-referenced living, so we might not serve for the common good as much as we might serve for our own good. That doesn't bless the city. But a city is blessed when people are in right relationship with God, living in right, honest business and caring for the common good. And the reality of verse 11 says, that they're bringing the blessing that's on them. So there's the integrity of how they're living, yet there's also this other reality in the kingdom of God. The presence and favor of God rests on those who live in right relationship and in right standing with the king. And so there's a kind of blessing that follows them. We see that a picture of that in the Old Testament with the person of Joseph, that even when he's in jail or when he's serving the king, wherever he is, the blessing of God follows. Why? He's living like this with integrity. He's carrying uh, the presence and blessing of God, and he's dependable. Well, as we get near the end of the chapter, we see the word generosity. And generosity is the mark of the kingdom of God. It displays a reliance on the abundant God for provision, and it is also a concrete expression of care. So we want to be people of generosity because our king is generous and the kingdom is generous. It abounds with provision, it abounds with good things. We want to live like that. So, as we consider the concepts that I've been kind of highlighting today, I want you to think about humility, integrity, and generosity. If you will live like that, if that marks your lifestyle, you will be releasing the blessing of God in your family, in your neighborhood, in your workplace, in the city. Imagine if even just the people of God, those seeking God, lived a lifestyle of humility, teachable, caring for others, integrity, follow through, that their word matters, generosity, overflowing in provision and care for others. You'll be a blessing. What you want to do is take that lifestyle into your purpose. I'm big about purpose, that God's created you with a unique purpose and function. If you'll take that lifestyle of humility, integrity, and generosity into your purpose and into your field of favor, for me, that is helping people get clarify who they are so that they can stand up and be bold in the calling and purpose of God and transform the arenas around them, just like what we're talking about. If I can bring a lifestyle of humility, integrity, and generosity into that sphere, it releases God's blessing. That sphere is the place that He's put you. So be it, be a person of humility, integrity, generosity, and call it out. Honor it when you see it in others. Maybe today there's going to be some opportunity for you to demonstrate those qualities. And or today you might recognize others living in it. And if so, maybe you even reflect after this little teaching. Text some people and say, I just want to honor you today because the way you walk in humility towards others at work, I just want to say I really appreciate it. I want to honor you because I can trust you. You can keep a secret. You are not a gossip. I just want to honor you. Thank you for the way your lifestyle in that way. Thank you for your generosity that I was able to go on vacation or whatever that thing is, the way that they helped you. Live it, call it out. You will be a blessing in your household, in your neighborhood, workplace, city. Have a great day. Bye bye.